You tell someone, oh, I don't have my kid 9 months out of the year. The way our society is, a mom to not have their kid 9 months out of the year, what did you do? Not deserve to be a mom or whatever. And so that part of it holds a lot of shame for me because of the way that outside people might look at it, people that don't know. And honestly, no one knows because I've never openly talked about this before. When it happened, I didn't want anyone to know that it was happening. Where I was like, we have to hide. Like, we can't talk about that. We can't let anyone know that this is happening kind of thing. And I think that has hindered me for a lot of years because it does happen to people. It's something that I live with every day. It's something people question, and people that get to know me and everything, they do have questions. Why is he not here?
Hey, how are you doing? This is Ronnie Rivera from Rebounds podcast, where the power of the comeback is the most important thing, and the story is why we're here. Jamie, how you say your name?
Maher.
Maher, that's right. As in mayor of baking. Is that right?
Pretty much.
We'll talk about that a little bit. I've had an opportunity to look over your resume. It's quite extensive, like everyone that sits across from me. Yours is pretty unique, though. You own a small company here with an amazing cult following, rolling in the dough, and we'll talk a little bit about
just rolling in dough. Yeah, just rolling in dough.
Rolling in dough.
Yep.
So no, not the rolling in dough.
No, just rolling in dough.
You have a cult following here in Pensacola. For some of our listeners and watchers of the podcast, you are at every single event with sweet treats to offer. It is quite amazing.
I try to be at every event.
They may not see you originally because they're looking at these sweet treats that we do have a little bit on camera. You've brought a ton of stuff to a man that's trying to watch his sugar intake, but nevertheless, I've had a lot of your culinary pastries, and they are amazing.
Thank you.
To say the least. And we'll talk a little bit more about rolling in dough.
Yes,
there
rolling in dough.
Looking at your resume, though, it is pretty extensive as far as this world goes. You worked at Scopolo's. You've worked at Everman's.
Yep.
For those that do not know, you have worked at Alice's when they were still around back in the day a little bit there.
Yep.
And again, you have this company now that is everywhere, all over the community all of a sudden. You have done a lot of charitable work around the town.
I tried to.
A couple of things, though, that I kind of picked up was when you were in St. Louis, and we'll maybe talk a little bit about that, you did a Taste of St. Louis kickoff, which is a pretty huge event for our listeners that are not aware. It's an enormous kickoff there through Anheuser-Busch. Is that correct?
It is. It's a huge event that happens in St. Louis every year. It gets the entire culinary community involved. Mm-hmm. They involve the culinary school students. That's how I got involved. Mm-hmm. I was an ambassador for the Le Cordon Bleu. So I worked every event that they would let me. If they needed people to do it, I was there doing literally anything that they told me to do. If they wanted me to jump on one foot for 3 hours next to your table, I was there to do it for you. Whatever that got me in the door to work these events. So that one, I believe I plated scallops or something for one of the chefs. But literally it's just booths of these world-renowned chefs and community leaders and all these amazing people. And they just are plating food for drunk people that have no idea how cool it is to be in the room with these people. And it's a very interesting thing to be a part of. It's a very cool thing to experience, especially if that's your first taste into the culinary world and like what's happening. That was my first taste, really big into community events that involved whole kitchens that needed teams of people that you didn't know who you were working with most of the time. Like these were held at hotels and stuff, or like that one was held at the Bush beer garden area. So we were back and forth in and out of their kitchens the whole night. And so you have people that are used to working with each other, and they're just watching all of these strangers walk in and out of their kitchen all night long, but they were always there to help if you had an issue, because I know that all of the students were standing there lost, like, oh, we're in this giant state-of-the-art kitchen and this giant brewery with, you know, they have the giant tubs everywhere to do the beer and stuff, and you're just like standing there like a lost deer, and everyone's like, okay, shuffle along, you're on to your next thing.
You also are a board member and volunteer for Fearless Community here in Pensacola, which I know is one of your favorites. I've talked to you, and I've talked to other board members, executive director there. They all like that you're serving there.
Yes,
you have done
them.
stuff with George Stone Technical College. Tell me a little bit about that real quick.
Yeah, I go over there and hang out with the students every once in a while. I'll go in there and teach them a specialty skill. So I've gone and taught them how to make a whiskey barrel cake with fondant presses and everything, and how to paint those and get the lifelike look going. And I think we did cream puffs one time. Just to get in there, get some different faces in there, so that also gets the students well acquainted with other people in our community and other chefs in the community and stuff. I know that there's lots of other chefs that go in and do these days where they just go in and hang out with the students and teach them what they do for a living and stuff. And the students get to ask questions. They get to figure out what journey they want to go on in culinary, because it can go a lot of different ways. You can go to a restaurant, you can go to a mom and pop, you can go to a grocery store, you can go off on your own, you can do catering, banquets, fine dining. There's so many different options. It's really hard when you're in school to like be all, oh, well, this is for sure what I want to do, if you don't know anything about that and you're just doing the day-to-day school stuff, because there's only so much that Morgan can teach them.
Sure.
Chef Morgan runs their program, Morgan Bond. I think that's how you say her last name. I'm like, that might be wrong. Morgan, sorry if it is.
Speaking of education, you graduated from
the Le Cordon Bleu St. Louis.
I can't even get it out. You're so excited. It is probably the premier culinary arts program in America. Would you concur with that, or do you think there's something better out there that I'm not aware of? And if there is, that's the only one I've heard of. So if you name another one, I probably haven't heard of it.
So it used to be. I believe now all of the U.S. locations have actually closed down. Le Cordon Bleu America went bankrupt.
Had no clue.
So
that's a shame, because it's a great chicken dish.
Yeah, right. I don't actually know if there's any more U.S. locations open. If there is, it's like the way bigger campuses like Vegas and Atlanta was one of the big campuses too. But like the one I went to, they shut down. Actually, my program was the last program to go through. So they shut down right after we left to do our
most people would have never known that. You could have said, it's still number one, and we're going great, and I'm the number one alumni from there. Nobody would have,
I mean, I really wish that I could say that, but I'll keep it honest today.
Right, fair enough. How long have you had, before we get into your story, because I know a little bit about your story, but I am interested, how long have you had Rollin' in Dough?
2017, September of 2017 was when I like launched it. So it's been like 9-ish years.
It's amazing. Again, I go to multiple events in the community, and anytime there is something sweet there, it's normally you have tapped that market. And so from a community standpoint, thank you so much.
Oh,
the food that you make
guys.
is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. But let's kind of preface this before we get started here. For listeners that may not know, Jamie Maher, who are you?
I, like you said, am the owner of Rollin' in Dough. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm just a normal person out there making cake. I don't know. This is another one of your questions. So to jump ahead, something I struggle with hugely is imposter syndrome. So that's the hardest question for me. I'm just some girl trying to make it. Honestly, but no. Yeah, I'm just here making cake. Really, like that's who my whole identity is wrapped up in my business.
Yeah.
I'm the cake lady, and that's how everyone knows me. And I'm a fellow Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
I know that you have lots of the Mardi Gras community on
do.
here and stuff.
I do.
I think it's a huge part of Pensacola.
Yeah.
Really, the Mardi Gras community is so great here, and they're the reason that I have hit every event
Yeah.
that you see me at. It's our Mardi Gras community keeping me busy.
Do you, and before I ask the next question, do you eat a lot of your own sweets?
No.
You can't, there's no way. There's no chance.
I don't like cake.
That's probably why you do so well, right?
Yeah,
You just don't eat a lot of it.
No. If I made breads for a living, I would
trouble.
be 300 pounds for sure.
Yeah.
Like those sweet buns that I made you, I've eaten 6 or 7 of them just while I was trying to put that box together. So like those are my problem, but like cake pops, which everyone knows me for as the local cake pop dealer, that is the number one thing I think people know me for is the cake pops. I don't like those at all. Those are gross. But people love them, but I don't really like cake. I like pies and danishes, and I love me some bread, but cake, nah.
Where does life have you at right now?
I'm very much in a stage of growth. Like you said, you've been seeing me at all the events. Here in the past, I'd say it's been about 9 months. It's really blown up. Event after event after event. It's amazing. I love it. And it's just maneuvering that stage of growth right now, but hoping to just keep going in that direction. But it's busy.
Why do you do the work that you do? Why do you do this particular type of work?
It found me. I didn't choose this. Well, I guess I chose this because I get up and I do it every day, and I run a business, obviously, but...
You didn't choose sweets. Sweets chose you.
Yeah, Like, I'm like, the sweet life. It grabbed me and was like, hey, this is what we're doing. It kind of found me. I got really into it in high school. Food Network used to have a show called The Challenge, and that used to be filmed at Disney. There was this lady named Bronwyn Weber on it, and she used to make the coolest cakes. She made this Ursula cake for one of the challenges. It was for Disney villains, and it was the coolest cake I had ever seen, and she just brought it to life so well. Not that every other competitor on there didn't bring their creations to life like amazingly as well, but like she really just sold me on like, you can do this for a living and make the coolest stuff possible. So I used to watch her all the time, and we were going to a Halloween party, and it was a potluck, and Betty Crocker bacon fills. Do you remember those pans?
Yes.
Were all of the rage, like right around this time. And my mom was one of those people. She definitely had like all of the like fad bakingware. If it was as seen on TV, my mom owned it. So we had one of these Betty Crocker bacon fills, and I'm like, Mom, will you take me to the Walmart? Because I definitely didn't drive until I was a senior in high school. So I was like, can you take me to Walmart? And I want to make a spider that is red velvet cake filled with green Jell-O with licorice legs and like all of this stuff. And she's like looking at me like, you've never baked anything in your entire life. What are you talking about? And she had always made candies. Like all of growing up, she made chocolates and candies like her and all the little church ladies. But like she didn't bake like that. So she was like, I don't like, okay, I'll take you to the store to buy all this stuff, but like can't help you, don't know what you're doing, whatever. And so she took me to the store. I got candy corn teeth to make his smile and peach ring eyeballs with, I don't know, gumdrops or something in the middle of them, and Googled a recipe for buttercream icing. It's still the same buttercream icing I use to this day.
Oh, wow.
And I made this horrific looking green and black striped spider with these crazy candy face and everything, and took it to this party, and it was good, I guess. I don't know. I didn't eat it, but everyone else thought it was awesome, and my friends started asking me to make their birthday cakes, and so I was already playing around with this stuff and like doing it, and so sure, I'll make your birthday cake. Like, why not? And then I had teachers asking me to make stuff, and they were all kind of just like really leaning in on this whole situation. And this whole time I'm like, oh, I'm going to go be a vet tech. I'm going to be a marine biologist. I'm going to go do this. And I'm finding out these jobs don't do any of the things that I think that they do. And I took a year off after I graduated high school. I have a yearbook spread that says like future cake boss. They did a 2-page spread in the yearbook my senior year where they were showcasing.
So you've been a dough dealer for quite some time.
It's been a long time. Like, I don't know what, 16 years? I've been doing this since I was 14. I'll be 31 this year. So it's been a long time of just watching a lot of YouTube and Food Network and figuring stuff out. But like, also, I do have the degree. I am classically trained in French cuisine. So with my associate's degree, I had to do the culinary side as well for like foundations and everything. So I'm also well versed in like making soups and sauces and like the base levels of cooking because I had to take cooking classes. But yeah, baking just really kind of like latched on to me. I didn't seek it out. It kind of, everyone around me was like, oh, you have this talent and let's feed this talent. And it took me a long time to realize I had the talent.
You're clearly talented. There's no doubt about that. I see you at events. And again, I've tried your pastries and they are amazing.
Thank you.
What is something that people may not know about you or may not realize about you when they meet you?
That I have extreme imposter syndrome, but they spend 10 minutes with me and they realize it real quick because you ask me what I do and I'm like, I dabble in cake. Like, I'm not ever like, oh, I'm this crazy cake artist that
it's wild
makes, life-size deer
right
whenever I have spare time. Like,
and who doesn't? You know what I mean? Who doesn't have the spare time to make a life-size cake deer?
Yeah,
I mean,
who's not making life-size deer out of cake?
If you're, what would your title of your story be? Let me ask you that. If you had a story, which you do, what would the title of that be?
It would be In the Weeds, but not 86th.
Nice.
So
that's so nice. and listen, here's the thing. Everybody here has worked in food and beverage in Pensacola.
Yeah, so like you in the weeds, you struggling. Right. You're just trying to make it through service. And I feel like that's what I'm doing most days, just trying to make it through the end of service.
Amen, sister. That's a mess. What's your mindset that sort of shapes and guides your life every single day, moves you, maybe a quote or a motto? What is it that moves you every day?
Only I can control what's happening to me. Only I can control how successful I am. Only I can control how good of a mood I'm in. Only I can control how good things are going and what my mindset is all the time. And so I just try to keep in a positive mindset and to make sure that I'm always going in a positive direction because once I decide I'm going backwards, then everything starts to fall apart. So everything has to always keep moving forward in a positive direction. And only I can control that part. So I got to keep control of that for my life.
I think that's a great mindset. And that kind of brings us to kind of the reason we're here. And that's to talk about a challenge or a setback that you faced in your life.
Yes.
And so with that, tell me about a time you have faced a challenge or a setback in your life.
In January of 2018, my kid was legally kidnapped by his dad. I believe the proper term is to say that he was legally abducted by his dad. We were still married at the time and didn't have any sort of custody agreement or separation agreement in place, so he had every right to move with him as I did, I guess. But I went to work one night, and he moved out of the state and didn't tell me and took our kid with him. And I didn't find out till the next day when I was at work again how that this all had transpired, because I couldn't get a hold of him. He disappeared. So that sucked. It was a situation.
Take me back to that moment. So were you living here?
Yeah, so we were living at my parents' house. We had just moved. We were living in St. Louis, and we had just moved back to Florida in September of 17. I had opened Rollin' in Dough. I was working at Scopolo's, and around Christmas time, I had asked for a divorce. Like, Christmas was really rough, and it was just the straw that broke the camel's back, and I was done. I was like, it's over. I don't want to do this anymore. Asked for a divorce, and he did not take it well. We did not have a great relationship. We were very toxic for each other. We should have never gotten married in the first place, but you know when people tell you not to do something, you got to double down and do it anyways? Sure. That's exactly how our relationship was. All these people, including ourselves, were telling us this wasn't going to work, and we doubled down, and when I was done, and he didn't want to be done. So one day, he quit his job and didn't tell me. Because he was military, he had friends here that were stationed here still. So he told me that he was going to move in to a friend's house, and he was taking our kid that night because that person also had another little kid. And I had to work anyways. I worked the 2 to 10 shift. I didn't get home till 11 after cleanup and everything most of the time. So it was no big deal. Take him. I'll see you in the morning to get him back. We'll trade off, whatever. This whole time, I had no idea that he was in the process of packing up all of his stuff out of my mom and dad's house, and moving across the country, moving back to Missouri to his mom's house. And he did this in just it was very calculated. I left for work at 1:30, and between the time that I left at 1:30 and my parents got home at 4:30-ish, everything he had in the house was gone, and he was off to Missouri. Gets there at his mom's house, whatever. The next morning, I'm trying to call, can't get a hold of him. I've got to go to work. I get to work. He knows what time I get there. My schedule has not changed since the day that I started. So I get there, still texting, calling whenever I get a chance, and he finally calls me, and I am standing in the middle of the Scopolo's kitchen when he tells me he moved back to Missouri, and he's got our kid, and there was nothing I could do about it. And that was the end of the call. What do you say at that point? There's nothing you can do. It's not like I could just pack up and drive to Missouri, because what am I going to do when I get there? Fight him? I don't like conflict. That's changed a lot. I will more stand up for myself now, but back in those days, I didn't ever stand up for myself. So I backed down a lot to what was going on, called everyone I could think of to call. We did call 911. They were like, "You're married. There's nothing we can do for you." Called all the lawyers. All the lawyers were like, "Well, he wasn't a resident of Florida, so there's nothing we can do either. This is now a Missouri problem." Well, how do you navigate something like that when you don't even live in the same state? There's a 12-and-a-half-hour drive difference from where me and my kid are at this point in time. Well, still now, but because
how long? And I hate to interrupt you, but
go.
Let me ask you: how long was it before the time you asked for the divorce and this happened?
Days, not days 2 or 3, but 17, 18 days. And that's how many days he missed the being a Florida resident cutoff as well. It was literally days.
And had y'all been fighting up until that point before you said, hey, I think this relationship's over between us?
Oh, yeah, every day. Every day we were fighting. And I've suffered with depression for years. It really became apparent in high school, and after I had my kid, it got exponentially worse, obviously. Then you have someone that you're not in a happy relationship with, so that also, amplifies how unhappy you are. So, yes, daily we were fighting all the time. Lots of very ugly things said to each other all the time. We didn't trust each other ever. There was cheating on both sides. All of these things compiled.
Toxic relationship.
Every aspect of the word toxic relationship. It was so unhealthy, and it was not going to get better. We could have went to counseling for years, and it would never have made it better. We had two personalities that were like fire and gasoline. I know all of the right things to say to him to set him off, and he knows every word to say to me to set me off too. And it was constant attacks all the time on each other. You did this to me. You did this to me. It was holding a score constantly. We were fighting in front of everyone knew, like the whole family knew that this was a completely unhealthy situation. So like, it wasn't even like we were hiding that we were not great together. Everyone around us was watching this complete spiral happen right in front of their eyes. And what are they supposed to say? Hey, I don't think that you should be married to that person. And then you got to double down because you can't have them be right. You know what I mean? Like,
I think everybody has either been in a pretty toxic relationship in their 20s or known somebody that was in a toxic relationship. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like, that type of love.
Yes, and everyone's got to have one to learn.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe this is not what we like, right? Like, I did learn. There's a lot of things that I won't accept in a relationship.
Yeah.
Back then, what, like
20-year-olds are not so sure about what love looks like. They just think they do sometimes.
And I married him at 19.
Yeah.
I wasn't even 20 yet.
Yeah.
So, like, well, yes, young, dumb, and feeling like I needed to make it work. Yeah. I couldn't let him go or whatever. It, forced it to work the whole time from day one. And
Let's move back and let's talk more about let's look at the event. And so you asked for a divorce, and 17, 18 days later, he disappears, and he disappears with your child.
Yep.
And y'all's child together. And he leaves the state.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot you certainly feel like you can do about it. Tell me about what emotions are the strongest during this period just after you find out that he's left with a child.
A lot of it is dumbfoundedness. One, because I didn't think he was ever capable of something like that. I have often underestimated him in a lot of ways in our years of having to be in touch with each other and whatnot. But I was dumbfounded. Obviously, the depression got extremely worse, but there's a lot of shame around the situation.
Why?
Because it feels like it makes me look like I did something wrong, that I don't have custody of my kid, but like, I didn't make this situation. The situation was done to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, you tell someone, oh, I don't have my kid 9 months out of the year. The way our society is, a mom to not have their kid 9 months out of the year, what did you do to, not deserve to be a mom or whatever? And so that part of it holds a lot of shame for me. because of the way that outside people might look at it, people that don't know. And honestly, no one knows because I've never openly talked about this before. When it happened, I didn't want anyone to know that it was happening, which was the polar opposite of my mom. She wanted everyone to know it was happening because she wanted help and she didn't know how to handle it, where I was like, we have to hide. Like, we can't talk about that. We can't let anyone know that this is happening, kind of thing. And I think that has hindered me for a lot of years because it does happen to people. It's something that I live with every day. It's something people question, and people that get to know me and everything, they do have questions. Why is he not here? And stuff. And then when you tell people, they look at you like you're crazy because what do you say back to something like that? Right. You know what I mean? So
yeah, to make sure that the record is clear, you did not seek me in this conversation. You have a family member that has been a dear close friend of mine since I can remember, and I talk to her often. She's friends with my wife, Shonda.
Yeah.
Shonda is a friend of mine since I can remember, from the earliest of times in my life. And again, her and I still have fairly relative conversations on at least every couple months. I mean, we were middle school friends. We knew each other in high school, and so we continue to be friends as adults. And she called me and she said, "Hey, I love what you're doing with the podcast. You have to talk to my cousin." So it's strange. I was like, I know her in passing. So it's not like you sought me out in this conversation. I called you and I said, "Hey, what is your story?" And that's kind of how we got here. You had not shared your story to very many people, and certainly in the community. I think very few people know this about you, that you have a child that lives in another state.
Yeah, most people don't even know that I'm a mom.
Correct. And so it's not like you came here seeking some sort of retribution or something like that. This is just a story that we're talking about. But so how long has it been since this occurred? Let me ask you that.
8 years. Well, yeah. Yeah, because he just turned 10, and this happened right before his second birthday. So, yeah, right around 8 years that it's been going on.
And so let's look at, and today things have healed some, obviously, but let's go back to when that healing wasn't going on, after the days preceding. Let's one more time kind of look at when did you kind of realize that this is a problem?
The moment I got the call, it was, everything is out of my control at this point. Prior to him leaving, I felt like we were on the same page and like we could have worked something out. This was completely left. I would have never in a million years thought that something like this would have happened. I did not think he was capable. One, it just never really crossed my mind that someone would just move out of the state with your kid. Like, it sounds outlandish to say out loud, and then it sounds even more like a movie line when you like really look at it. Like, who does this happen to? Like, if it is happening, absolutely no one's talking about it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So from the moment it happened, I knew that everything was out of control. I like to think in my head that I was super proactive and like, these are the next steps we have to do.
Sure.
But that's not what happened at all. I completely shut down, and my mom was absolutely the person that was like, we need to start contacting people. How do we get him back? I did not have that same reaction. I completely shut down. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to fight him.
What are you, like 23 at the time or something?
Yeah, 22, 23 years old, like, have no idea what I'm doing, and this guy's just taken away my entire world. Like, my entire life, all I wanted to be was a mom. I'm really good at being a mom. I really like it. And he just so easily took it all away. In like one bad decision, all of it was gone, right? And So all of it from day one was just a complete, it was a shit show. Like, there's no other way to put it. It was complete dumpster fire. And I started shutting down as a person. Realistically, if my mom and dad weren't the people that they are, probably none of this would have been ever solved, or like solved to where it is now. They're the reason that that I had a lawyer that I was able to pay to talk to every single day for months. Like, our lawyer was the best lawyer. Thank God for him. But I talked to him every day. Like, it cost me $85 to get married and $25,000 to get divorced. And we didn't fight over anything other than our kid. Yeah. That was the only thing disputed in the divorce. It was all about him, because he was a giant pawn from day one. Yeah. Because my ex-husband made him that way in the fight to keep control. And he's had control ever since. You know what I mean? Like, he still holds control 8 years later. I'm still worried about stuff that he can do to just take that relationship away. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a crappy place to live in all the time. Mm-hmm. But, like, also, what are you going to do? You can't just stop doing whatever because it sucks, this situation that you're put in. You know what I mean? You have to keep going, have to keep building. And all this was happening in the middle of me starting a business. Like, still have cake orders coming in. I still have stuff I have to show up to work. So, like, I'm also doing all of this stuff and trying to hold this situation together that I'm trying to build, which is crazy to be trying to do. But I don't know. The whole thing was very much a blur of stuff that was happening all at once. But
so let's focus in on this. So you get the call. You kind of have figured out at this point there's not a lot that you can do, at least after the call.
Yeah.
You start to shut down a bit. And your parents say, hey, not so much. Let's obtain an attorney and kind of fight it, or at least look at it and see what we can do. How long is it before you guys figure out that you need an attorney? And that day, that night, the next day? I mean, did y'all think this is going to resolve itself without an attorney? Was there a period where you thought that might happen, or were your parents pretty solid about, hey, we need to move forward legally now?
Oh, when he called me and told me that he took our kid, he told me that I was not getting him back. Like, so we immediately knew we now have to figure out where we
Did you
stand.
think about calling law enforcement for a kidnapping?
I mean, yeah, that was my first call. Was ESCO, and they were like, well, like, it does suck and we're sorry, but like, there's nothing we can do here.
Correct.
Which is really crappy when it comes down to it, but also, like, I get it. Like, it's, you guys can't help me, but like, we did thankfully talk to someone that was like, these are the people that you probably should call, get their advice. So, like, someone did help us from the office, but like, it wasn't, it wasn't like, oh, well, let's put out an Amber Alert right now. This kid was kidnapped. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was very much like,
and that's not the next 48 hours.
Yeah. I'm like, it wasn't like, what we were looking for, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, we had a lawyer same day. We called several lawyers. We ended up going with a guy named Doug Frederick. He really amazing lawyer, great guy. We also had a guardian ad litem. That was appointed by the court. We didn't seek out to have one, but because my kid he was one when he was taken, but like during this time of not having him, his second birthday like fell in there. Wow. So, well, he was like 1-2 years old when this was all happening. So we got a guardian ad litem because he couldn't represent himself or talk for himself. So, like, that's what the guardian ad litem's purpose was.
Sure.
But yeah, we knew right away that we needed to figure out what the next step was as far as where we stood legally with the whole situation. And what it came down to was who could file for divorce first. And so then it was a race to file paperwork and get somebody served, which we were able to serve him first, even though he was trying to avoid it for weeks. So we had the upper hand, but obviously it wasn't the upper hand. This did not come out in my favor, but we did everything the legal way. We did everything that the lawyer said to a T. My lawyer said, do not go get your kid because it will just look bad in the eyes of the law.
Yeah.
Then you guys have just wronged each other in the same way. Well, let's do it through the court. We did that. We did all of the stuff the guardian ad litem told us. We did, you have to take parenting classes in the state of Missouri to get divorced if there's a kid involved. I did it the same day my lawyer told me I needed to do it. I did it. Like, all of the things to the T every time. My ex-husband was not that person. He, constantly needed to be reminded to go do stuff or orders put in for him to fill out paperwork or whatever. And still, the law was not in our favor for this whole thing. Like, it's so crazy how family court works.
Tell me about the people around you that struggled with you during this, maybe your family or friends.
Oh, I feel bad for
your team.
all of them.
How did this play out with all of them?
Well, fortunately for the business, it's just me that does everything. There's not a team behind me that makes the orders happen. It's literally just me. So it didn't affect the business because I'm also very hyper aware and I'm not good with failure. So I made sure that everything was still getting done. It may not have been probably my best top stuff at the time, but it was getting done. But the friends and family, I feel so bad for everyone that was in my life at this time. I was terrible. My fuse was short with people. I was angry all the time. I was sad. I was not functioning great, drinking a lot. When you're in the restaurant industry, it's easy to
Food and beverages that way, yeah.
Yeah, well, kitchens are run like pirate ships.
Absolutely.
And it's easy to get your hands on drugs and alcohol. Sometimes people don't care if you're drinking at work as long as you are able to cover it up enough. Like, started going down a real spirally situation, and my parents got the brunt end of it all the time. We were fighting a lot. I was very mean during this time. I was sleeping if I wasn't at work, I was asleep. Just not...
Serious depression?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Constantly wanting to die. I attempted suicide several times. It was a very heavy situation, and I lived with my parents, so they weren't getting a break either. It was all the time, and I'm also an only child, so I'm really sure that was so scary for my mom to watch her kid go down this spirally situation, and she had no control whatsoever of what was happening. She didn't know how to fix it. Anytime she did anything to try to fix it was a trigger, and then we were fighting all the time, and so it really hindered our relationship, but like overall made it stronger because like at the end of the day she's my best friend, and our relationship is not bad now, but then it really was because she was trying to fix things and she couldn't fix them, and I was getting angry that she wanted to fix them and it wasn't her problem to fix, and it all came back to being embarrassed by the whole situation that I let it happen or whatever it came down to. So it was rough. Very rough time.
What was the hardest part of this struggle?
Having no control over pretty much anything that was happening, it felt like. People would ask, like, how's Lincoln doing? What's he, have you heard from him recently? No, I don't know. Go days, weeks without talking to him. And how do you talk to a 2-year-old? He has no idea what's going on. So a lot of the phone calls would just be me staring at him scream into the phone for his mom. Like, what are you supposed to do? So then I didn't want to call. Like, just having no ability to do anything. It was just constant hurt all the time. And it was just so overwhelmingly isolating because, you try to talk about it and stuff. I didn't like to talk about it, but when I did try to talk about it, no one understands what you're going through. No one's experienced that's around you. So then everyone's trying to understand, but they're not saying any of the right things, or they're, trying to be hopeful. And at that point, like, hope was the very last thing on my mind. So, like, nothing was good that anyone said. And so I was just a ticking time bomb constantly to blow up at people and start crying. And then people didn't really know what to do because they're like, oh, never seen Jamie cry before. Now she cries literally anytime that she's like around anyone. And so it was just a really overwhelming, isolating situation and time to be.
What did you learn during this process?
That you have to let people help you. You can't shut down and do everything alone. You have to have people there. You have to let the people that are there trying to help in the ways that they can. You can't push everyone away. And that's what I was trying to do. Thankfully, all of my people are forceful, loving people, so they forced me to let them help, and thank God they did, because without any of the people that helped me, nothing would have gotten done. I wouldn't be sitting here with you right here now. Like, I'd probably be dead, to be honest with you.
I have a friend that says you have to let people love you the way they want to love you, not the way you want them to love you.
Yeah.
And that's challenging. It truly is challenging. Looking back on this now, kind of moving forward a little bit, what started sparking the shift from the struggle during this period to progress for you? When did you start to see any kind of progress? Let's start in the case. Let's start in that. When did you start to see some progress? And maybe none, but what do you think kind of shifted for you during the court case, at least? At least to the end of it.
When we were able to do the month-to-month, stuff was okay. So about 5 months of not seeing my kid from January to the end of May. We didn't see him at all other than like FaceTime calls. And then at the end of May, they went to court and told us we could do month to month until they like put together a more serious parenting plan. Okay. Because we live 12 and a half hours away from each other, it's not like you can just be like, hey, every other weekend we'll switch off. That's not a feasible thing to do. So now we're shuffling a 2-year-old every month into a new situation. So as soon as he gets comfortable in one house, he is shifted off into another house. Mm-hmm. But at least we had time with him. And so that gave us hope that, like, okay, this might work out in our favor and stuff. And then we went to court in September of 2018, and we left court feeling so confident. My ex really showed the person that he was. He was disruptive. He had to be told several times to settle down. You know, the judge really seemed like he was going to go in our favor. The guardian ad litem was completely on our side, saying that my kid should have been living with me, the whole nine. So we're like really feeling good. My lawyer, who had the whole time was like, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you. I'm going to let you know this could go, you know, one of two ways. But he even left. He was like, man, I feel good about this, but like, don't get hopeful, because he was very much a realist, and he was like, this could, you know, totally polar opposite of what we think should happen. And then we didn't get a verdict, and a month goes by, 2 months goes by, wow. 3 months goes by. Now we're in 2019, and we still don't have a verdict from a trial we had in September of 2018 on a custody case. But there's no reason why there's no judgment being made, just not having a judgment made. We put in orders for them to make a judgment, doesn't make a judgment, put in more orders for there to be a judgment done. Finally, in February of 2019, a judgment's made, and it is not in my favor. It's in his dad's favor. So he spends the school year at dad's house. He comes home for Thanksgiving. Every other Christmas break, we either get the front end or the back end. Technically, he should come home for spring break, but the way Missouri does spring break, it's a waste, so we don't participate in that. Usually I go up there in the spring to go visit him, and then the court order is 6 weeks out of the summer, but his dad lets me have the full summer. So technically I get 2-ish months out of the year with my kid, while his dad gets the other 9-10 months of the year. So I'm just the fun parent. We joke around that I'm the dad in the situation, and we only have fun when we're at my house.
We'll get to some other questions potentially. How about when you started making the shift and the struggle mentally?
And
have you? Certainly, it seems like you've at least landed in good spirits after this.
I mean, I struggle a little bit still, but I mean, that's what happens when you have a chemical imbalance in your brain. So, I mean, I can't always control it, but I try to stay on the up and up. The shift really was when I met my husband now, and right around that same time, one of my really good friends that I worked at Scopolos with OD'd and passed away. And that really kind of like set a reality for like where I was going with my life. And my husband, at the time we had just started dating and everything, and he was very much like, hey, don't love all this stuff that you're doing. Like, it's not great, like, kind of thing. And so he pushed it, and I, pushed back, because you double down when someone, tells you that you're messing up. So, I didn't really want to accept that, like, he was right, and that I like needed to get my life together and like figure out what I was doing, especially because I have a kid that like watches everything that I do. So he was like, come on now, like, can't be drinking all the time. You can't like be living your life in this stupor that you're doing. And then my friend OD'd, and that really was like oh wait, we could all be dead tomorrow kind of thing. And he left behind a little kid and stuff like that. So like it kind of just really turned on a light bulb that it didn't matter that I was managing my life in this really unhealthy way. It wasn't healthy at the end of the day. I really needed to figure out a way to manage all of this pain and everything that wasn't causing more pain to everyone else around me. Because I also, because of this situation and unresolved feelings and everything, I would get drunk and then fight with everyone around me. Like, I'm not a happy drunk. I'm not a super fun. I'm not the kind of drunk that's like, hey, let's go dance in the street and then like go to Waffle House. No. I'm going to fight you, and we could be arguing about like bread. Like if you like pumpernickel bread over wheat bread, and if your opinion is not the opinion I think you should have, we're getting in a fight if I've been drinking, kind of thing. And so it was just becoming so unhealthy, and that all of that stuff compiling, my husband being like, hey, you need to like get your life together, and my friend passing away just really was like, oh wait, we have to figure out a better way to handle all of this stuff. And that's when I started going to the gym all the time.
Which is good.
Yeah. So now I have a healthy obsession
right, exactly.
with the gym.
Yeah. Who showed up most for you to support you during this period?
My mom and dad, for sure. They were right there in the thick of it with me.
Yeah. Was there a faith or a mindset or a discipline, and you talked a little bit about the gym, that helped you in this turnaround portion? What was it that helped you in this portion?
Really the gym, and coming up with healthy ways to deal with all of that. The gym was the main one. I had a friend that got really into CrossFit when he decided to quit drinking, so started doing like CrossFit stuff with him after work. We started running. I just kind of really absorbed everything and did everything till I found something that I liked doing, got really comfortable in the gym, and just put all of my energy into either being at the gym or being at work. Those were the only two things. Like anything extra, if it involved going out and drinking and stuff like that, I didn't want to participate in it. It was, got to put all of my energy into this or this, and like drown out everything else.
So it sounds like the gym helped you rebuild your confidence during this period.
Yeah, it was a healthy outlet for all the feelings and everything that was happening, because when you don't have control over what feels like anything that's happening in your life, but that's the only thing you can control, is if you can go to the gym or not, then you go to the gym. You know what I mean? Like, that was the only thing that felt in control at that time, was that I can go to the gym and I can spend as long or as little time as I want here. No one is telling me how I have to work out or what to do when I'm working out. Like, it was completely just me in my own little space. I'd put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Like, I would literally only listen to music in the gym. The phone didn't get touched unless I was changing the song or looking up a workout. So it was a complete escape. No one could bug me while I was at the gym, kind of thing. And I made it a priority. Like, this is something I have to go do. Even that's why I went to Planet Fitness, because it was 24 hours. I'm like, if it was, 1 a.m. when I got off work and I needed to go run for 30 minutes, I could go to the gym and safely go for a run at 2 a.m. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it was very much the only place I felt like I had complete control over everything that was happening in my life, kind of thing, was at the gym. So
it sounds like this was a gradual change, not a sudden change for you. Would you agree? Or
yeah.
disagree? Yeah?
Yeah.
It's kind of gradual over time.
Yeah.
Something that just kind of grew on you.
Yeah, for sure.
When did you realize I'm not the same person I was when I started this endeavor of losing my child?
I don't know when it kind of like changed. Now I can sit here and like tell you like I'm definitely not the same person, and I learned how to handle situations and everything during that time, but I couldn't tell you like when that kind of switch happened or when.
That's the best
kind
kind.
of just like
It happens.
Yeah, I'm like,
You just trust the process. Yeah.
And
that's the best kind.
Compiled into one situation.
Looking back on this behind the scenes, what did the rebuilding process look like for you emotionally?
Messy.
Yeah.
I had to work out a lot of stuff and talk through a lot of stuff. I'm still rebuilding. I'm still working through things. There's a lot to unpack with the whole situation, and sometimes stuff that I don't think is going to bother me does end up bothering me. So it's been learn as you go kind of things, because some stuff will come up where you're just like, oh, why is this even bothering me? And then you like really think about it and you're like, oh, it's a situation like coming back up. So that's been tough to learn to navigate, but I've been working on it.
What were the small wins that gave you momentum along the way?
Growth in business stuff really kept me going with this stuff. Like while I was at Scopolo's, Gus is really someone great to work for. I'm sure that most of the culinary community in Pensacola has worked for Gus at some point or another in their career.
And if they haven't, everybody else respects him.
Yeah, like I'm like, if you haven't worked for Gus, you've really missed out. I really appreciate everything that he did for me. He literally never questioned anything about me needing to leave to go get Lincoln or to go to court or whatever. I would just be like, hey, I got to go. And he'd be like, okay, great. Like, make sure your station's stocked and you're fine. But he put my name on a menu. That was the first menu that I'd ever been on while all of this stuff was happening. So like there was stuff at work that was compiling that I was like, okay, something's going right. And I ended up having 4 or 5 menus while I was at Scopolo's because we changed them seasonally. So the first time he put my name on a menu, it only had like 2 of my desserts on it. And then the next time he put my name on a menu, it was completely my menu and stuff. So like it was a big deal just in general that he put my name on a menu. Like that had never happened to me before. So like small stuff like that, and rolling in dough was taking off in a different direction than what it was originally supposed to be, but it was growing, and I was getting to do a lot of stuff that I didn't think that I was gonna get to do, like work-wise, getting to do like big events and do banquet stuff and creating recipes, and the amount of trust Gus had for all of the stuff I was doing at work just really put a momentum that it was, okay, stuff can go right and we can make a better life and like we can succeed at doing these things. And it was a real big like, okay, we're moving in the right direction kind of thing, because up until that point I was like, don't know what I'm ever gonna do. Like it felt very, you get told that you're worthless enough, you start believing that you're like never gonna make it and that you're worthless. So I was very much stuck in that mindset until stuff started happening at work that was like, okay, wait, maybe I'm not that bad at this and maybe I can be good at something and stuff. So that really pushed it. And then I ended up leaving Scopolo's and I did a stint at Everman's for all of 5 seconds. And then got the job at Alice's, and immediately it was name on a menu and these are your recipes, go for it, run, whatever. And COVID happened, and I think that was the greatest thing to ever happen. I know that I'm probably the only person that thinks COVID was great. COVID was freaking awesome.
All right.
The restaurant shut down, and I had nothing but time on my hands.
Exactly.
And I was making cream horns and danishes and just all of the fun things that I had time to practice, and I had nowhere to be. So me and Lincoln would just make all of these treats, and then I'd be like, okay, porch pickup, here you go, people. And rolling in dough took off, restaurants reopened, and I was like, I don't have time for you anymore, gotta go.
Yeah. So the next question is, you asked somebody, when did it feel like I'm back? But this kind of started at an early age for you, so you may never feel the same as you felt at 22 or 23. But maybe the question for you is, when did I start feeling normal again?
Probably like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
After a couple years of being in the rhythm of not having him for large stints, because the school schedule, when he started kindergarten, obviously that changed our schedule drastically. It was no longer month to month. It was now he was gone until Thanksgiving, and then, till Christmas. And then he was gone the whole long stint in the spring. And that took a couple years to really get used to and navigate and figure out what normal looks like, because it's not fathomable. It's not feasible to go every 3-4 weeks to go up to Missouri for a weekend because you want to. It's
right.
When you're in the wedding industry and everything, my whole job is on the weekends. It's my times when I'm like, oh, this is good for vacation is Monday through Wednesday.
Sure.
It's hard to get off for a weekend. That's when weddings happen. That's when birthday parties are happening. That's when the vast majority of my stuff happens. So it got really hard trying to navigate how much can we go up there? When can we go up there? How are we not disrupting the school schedule? Because that's also a huge thing. Normalcy for him. It doesn't help if I'm up there disrupting the school schedule and he's distracted because of this, and this, and this. So it just took a couple years to navigate where everything falls and stuff. But in the past couple years, it's become like our normal.
Yeah. What did you learn about yourself in this journey?
That I'm more resilient than I think I am. You can survive hard stuff, even if you don't want to.
You can survive hard stuff indeed. How did this rebound change how you see yourself and how others see you?
Well, I'm not sure how it's gonna... I know a lot of people think that I'm so strong or whatever, but I don't always see that. You just can't, lay down and die. It's not an option to sink into the couch. You know what I mean? As much as I would like for that to have been, the option that I got, it's not. So lots of people see me as strong. I guess I am. I don't know about all that, but I definitely think that I'm more resilient than I thought that I was. Not sure I'm that tough, but I'm resilient.
What accomplishment from this season are you the most proud of? That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. It's been a season. I want to say Best Bakery, but probably Woman of the Year. That was really exciting.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, Favy's Best Bakery for 25, and then Woman of the Year 26.
Yeah. What do people misunderstand about what it really takes to come back or have some normalcy or bounce back or any of those things? What does it take? What do people misunderstand about what it takes?
It takes a lot of work, and it does not happen overnight. There's a lot of repetitive behaviors you have to get rid of, and you have to really look at yourself and figure out where you want your life to go from there and stuff. And I think that people underestimate how hard that actually is, to really look at yourself and be like, hey, is this working? What are we doing here? You know what I mean? And then if you don't like what you're seeing, fix it.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to be like, oh, I'm going to change all these habits and everything. But at the end of the day, it's hard to change a habit. And when you have all of these self-destructive habits, and now you're looking at yourself and you're like, oh, this isn't going great, and maybe we should stop doing this. How do you all of a sudden change almost everything about you that you've been doing for a year? You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of work to
It is a lot
figure
of work,
out.
Yeah. Obviously, what doors open because of this problem or this setback that you may not have had opened otherwise, which is kind of a tough one.
That is a tough one. I'm not sure, to be honest, because I've never really shared it openly. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I'm not sure about that one.
If you could speak to yourself during this hardest season, what would you say to yourself during that period of time?
Oh, don't. I don't know. I think that I needed to learn every lesson that I learned through that time. I don't think that I would tell myself anything. Because I wouldn't have listened. And I needed to, every one of those lessons that I learned during that time, I needed to learn that. That shaped me in a lot of different ways and really made me grow as a person. And I learned a lot about other people in the process too. So,
Really?
Yeah.
What daily rituals or habits keep you grounded every single day now?
I try to go to the gym every day, but I don't always make it. Now it's definitely looking at motivational stuff. If you're on my social media, you know that I share a lot of maybe aggressive motivation, but that's the kind of motivation that I like. My entire Instagram feed is stuff that motivates me. I don't have just gossipy crap on everything is intentional that's on my social media. Because I don't want to open social media and feel frustrated because it is muddy with a lot of bad crap all over it. People just complaining about their lives or whatever. So I try to make sure that if I'm on social media, what I'm looking at isn't negative. It is more aligned with where I want to be and where I want to go with my life. So I'm not intaking a bunch of negative crap all the time. I try to keep it very much the books I consume, the podcasts I listen to, everything is upbeat or morally aligned with what I want to be listening to. It's not, don't listen to the news. I don't want to know what's happening out in the world.
Yeah.
I am all, nope, don't ask me.
Don't put bad stuff in your body.
Yeah,
don't do that.
My husband will come home and want to talk about it. And I'm like, are you talking about something that was on the news? I don't know what you're talking about. Well, that's not on my feed.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
You can't. One of the people I worked with at Krispy Kreme, he was my GM at the Krispy Kreme that I opened with him, and he would always tell me, we're just making donuts. We're not saving lives here.
Yeah.
And I I've lived my life by that. If I get too stressed out, we're just making cake. We're not saving lives here. No one is going to die if this cake does not turn out. I'm not a surgeon. I don't have someone's life in my hands.
Right.
So I kind of live by that. Little piece of advice: we're just making cake, not saving lives. We're just making donuts.
I tell my wife, she's the new director of library services, it's not that challenging. Let's get the books in. Let's get the books out. It's not that hard. I mean, come on, man.
It's just books, not saving lives.
Come on, man.
You can apply it to everything, literally.
You really could.
For like surgery,
right.
Which my husband does that for a living. So I'm like, oh, I can't help you with your problems, but like my problems are easy.
How has failure shaped your purpose or your leadership? How has this shaped your purpose or your leadership?
It's made me work harder because I feel like I've had to work 5 times as hard to get where I am, just because I came from such a dark place and it was so hard literally just to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let me ask you, if your story was a lesson plan or the first chapter of a book or a song or a painting, what would it be? Any of those things. You can pick.
A dumpster fire.
Fire. I like it. I like it.
Come on.
What do people often get wrong about resiliency or bouncing back? What do they often get wrong?
That you don't have to hit rock bottom to be resilient to something or to rebound. Any challenge or struggle that you overcome is a rebound because you had a struggle. You did something that you had to do something hard to overcome that. So I think that a lot of people undervalue how much they're rebounding. You know what I mean? Like, I think people don't look at their rebounds as rebounds. Like, they just see it like, oh, it's just another day that I had to do this, or it's just another problem that I overstepped. It doesn't have to be this, your kid doesn't have to get kidnapped. It doesn't have to be this whole big thing. It can be, well, my dad died and it was a struggle to, get him back to this state or whatever it is. Anything that causes distress and that you have to overcome can be a rebound from something. It doesn't have to be some grand,
everybody's got a story
thing.
to tell.
Yeah,
everybody's got a story.
Absolutely.
What would you say to somebody that is listening that feels stuck in their own setback right now?
Reach out to people, get other people's stories and perspective, and find other people that have been through a similar situation or a story that you relate to, and learn about it. Learn what they did to get out of that situation. I'm really big into podcasts and listening to other people's stories and stuff because I want to know, how did you get from point A to point B? What did you do differently that, the girl on Facebook that is complaining about the same problem, what are you doing differently that now you're successful or whatever it is?
I'm incredibly interested in it, obviously.
So. There's so much we can learn from just talking to each other, and I feel like we've really lost that, especially in like the social media. Post everything online except for the real crap.
Yeah, it's all transactional. It's hard to gain a real relationship with somebody. It's just terribly hard.
And it's superficial.
Yeah.
Everything, no one's talking about the hard stuff. And then if you are talking about the hard stuff, it's immediately, do we need to get you help or something? Like I often will post about my depression struggles and everything, and I feel like the moment I stop talking about it's the moment you guys really should be concerned, because then I'm suffering in silence. You know what I mean? But the more that I post about it, the more people know that it's okay that you feel this way and stuff. Everyone feels this way nowadays. I'm like, everyone has anxiety and depression now. It's like the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
So, like, but like people will message me and be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Yeah, it's just Tuesday and I'm sad for no reason. Like, just letting everybody know that it's okay if it's Tuesday and you're sad and stuff. It doesn't have to be, you know, oh my gosh, everything's coming. Nope, just a chemical imbalance in my brain. And if Susan over here is struggling with that and it sees my post and is like, oh, this is, you also feel this way? Okay, it's not as abnormal and stuff. And like now postpartum depression's talked about all the time. It was not when I was struggling with it. I took myself to the emergency room because I was like, I hate this small being right here. It cries and I don't like that. I need help. And like the little girl at the emergency room, she's like, oh, you just have postpartum depression. You're fine. And I'm not fine though. Like that's what I'm telling you.
I think it is strange that we are oddly separated from each other, but we are so conjoined on social media platforms that when somebody posts something and you have that internal feeling, but you don't reach out to that person. It's such a weird dichotomy. It's really strange how we are cojoined, but we are also incredibly separated from each other.
Yes, and we all feel like we know each other, but we don't actually know each other at all, to be honest with you. Like at the end of the day, what you post online could be completely curated. Not everyone.
Mostly it is.
It is. You're right.
You have to take 50 or 60 photos to get the right one.
Exactly. And you only post what you want people to know. You can curate a life that is completely polar opposite from the one that you live.
Absolutely.
Online, and that makes it rough.
It does. It makes it extremely challenging. And I'll kind of wrap up with that in a minute. But I want to ask you one last question. We're kind of getting to the end here. But what is your personal definition of a comeback story?
My personal definition of a comeback story is being able to have a situation that you're really struggling with and is knocking you down. You're failing, whatever it may be. Take that situation, look at it, dissect it, learn what you can from it, and then do it all different and come back stronger. And if you don't come back stronger and you fail again, look at it, learn from it, grow from it, come back and do it all over again. And pretty much that's all you can do. But
before we wrap up here, I want to tell a little small story that you may not realize, or you may realize, I don't even know, because we've never talked about this, but I go to the same gym you go to.
Yep.
And so, 2-3 years ago or whatever, I had an opportunity to interact with you. I'm working out, and I am the cheerleader to many people in this community, and I'm very well aware of the tasks that I've been suited with. I'm a cheerleader for the community and for people in particular, and it's very rare. You know, some people say, hey, you're doing a good job, you're doing this, you're doing that, and again, some of that is superficial and transactional. But as I'm walking out of the gym one day, I'd never met you, and I don't even know if you remember this, but you said to me, hey man, you're doing a great job. You probably don't even remember that.
I do remember it.
And I thought, who is this girl? Thank you so much. And so we had an opportunity to interact at the gym a couple of different times. But I think it's important for people to know that you are also a cheerleader of those that are at least appear to be distressed. I certainly seemed to be distressed that day. I'm sure I'd killed myself for 45 minutes. And so I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I want people to understand how much you really care about your community and the things that you do. You don't just bake goods for the community. You pour a lot of love into those sweet treats for our people in Pensacola, Florida. So thank you.
Of course. I try to be here for the community as much as possible. I do remember that interaction. I had seen, it was right after Mardi Gras. I had seen you several times
and I was
out
dying.
at the parades.
Exactly.
And I was like,
this guy's dying.
I see this guy at the gym. I see him out at the parades. Like, I know that he's killing it in the gym because I had seen you in there several times.
Right.
And I'm like, he is losing weight. He looks so great. Like, I'm so proud.
Yeah. And now you bring me a whole bunch of sugar. What are you
and I'm
doing,
like,
Jamie?
here, now you have snacks.
Right.
But I do that with several people in the gym. I'll see them over like several weeks. And I'm like, I know I have not always been this thin.
It's a struggle. The gym is a struggle.
And
that's why they go.
You look at yourself every single day. So you're used to looking at your body. It's very easy that after going to the gym for 3 weeks, you're not seeing the changes. Other people are seeing them, but you're not seeing them. And you just get defeated in the gym and stuff. And so I always try to like make sure when I see someone at the gym that I know that they've been killing it, and they're like, you just start to get this look in the gym where you're like, this is my 1,000th rep. And I don't know why I'm doing it anymore.
Exactly.
And you just kind of like have people start to get this look in the gym where you're like, you're not liking this as much as you think you do. And so I always try to like pick those people and be like, hey, just so you know, like I'm noticing that you're like making progress. You're not like stuck like you think you are, just so you know. Like
it matters. It matters. Listen, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your story. By the way, that day I did not know that you had a story, but soon I would realize everybody has a story. So thank you. We will include the link to Roland and Doe.
Cool.
In the show notes. And if you guys get an opportunity and you want a sweet treat, if you don't see her somewhere in the community, hit her up on her business and certainly order some things from her. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Jamie.
you.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for listening to Rebounds Podcast with Ronnie Rivera. If you have an opportunity, please review our show notes and support our sponsors, Blush and Needle Society, Meredith Bush Law Firm, Randall's Formal Wear, Youths Left Behind. Also, please support us on our social media platforms, Instagram and YouTube. We'll see you next time on Rebounds Podcast.